Hi and welcome to my channel. Now in today's video I'm going to be talking about this Sansui 200 receiver. This is a receiver that would have been produced in about 1971-72 in Japan. It obviously would have went to America and places like that, Europe, all them kind of places. Back then in America, the only prices I could find back then was for America, and it was about $150, which would equate to about £75, £80, something like that here in the UK. This would have been right at the bottom of their range. It was just 5 watts. It would have been acceptable back then, probably 5 watts, you know, as the wattage war kind of progressed, more and more wattage was wanted by people. But this would have been right at the bottom of the range, like I say. And in today, not many people looking around for receivers or amplifiers that just give out 5 watts. You know, it's not even bare minimal these days. People are looking at minimum 30, 50 watts, something like that. But it's quite surprising how much oomph, how much power this gives out, considering it's just 5 watts. So we're going to have a little look at it. I've got this receiver. I'm lucky enough to get the box that come with it. And if we have a very quick look, you may be interested in this stuff. This is what we would have got inside the box once you opened it up, and it says the contents. It would have been an AM aerial in there. I'll take it just a piece of wire or something like that, maybe to attach, because the AM aerial is already on the back of the little rod, with the ferrite rod. An FM aerial antenna. You may have got a dipole or something like that, a little plastic dipole or something come with it. You've got some pin plugs, some operating instructions, operating sheet, service manual, quick acting fuses. They would have been for the speaker outputs, I should imagine. You may have to do them separate, you may have had to screw them in yourself. And a polishing cloth to polish your brand new unit. So there it is. Lucky enough, I've got a few of them things actually did come with this unit, including the warranty. I must remember to send that off. So I've got the warranty there with it. I've got the caution card telling me the do's and don'ts of this particular receiver. I've got a nice fair size plastic kind of coated front panel information sheet there. It's like laminated, and there you go at the back telling me what I cannot connect to it, what kind of connections it has got at the back, and there's the ferrite rod there shown there. I can connect my vinyl, record player, a tape. No cassettes there shown, but I can put a couple of reels there I can plug in, and my speakers, of course. So that's that. What else have I got with it now? I take it my unit actually come from America, because the only service, authorised service stations, they call it here in the US, in Canada, dealers probably here in the UK, but every single one of them on there is actually from America. So they're all American. So I should imagine this unit was actually sold in America and found its way over here to the UK, I'm guessing a little bit. And there I've actually got the operating instructions and service manual in one, and it does include, somewhere in there is the actual circuit diagram of this particular unit. There you go, there's a little circuit diagram of the unit as well. So okay, let's have a little look at the back of it, just to show you there very quickly what the back looks like. There you can see the inputs, etc., and the outputs for the speaker, just one set of speakers for this particular unit. And if we quickly look at the front, we've got the power, we've got the headphone socket there, we've got the bass, the treble, we've got the balance, sorry, we haven't got the balance, we've got the volume and balances in one, because they're 2 separate dials. You do the inner ring for the inner ring's for the right channel, and the outer ring is for the left channel. So that's the kind of balance. So if you wanted one down than the other, you'll turn one of them rings up higher than the other. I'm not too keen on that particular setup. I prefer a separate balance control, to be honest with you, but obviously this is a basic unit, going to keep it really, really basic. We've got the loudness there, we've got the stereo there, and we've got the tape on and off there for the tape input there at the back through the DIN socket, and we've got the selector here, which is auxiliary AM, FM, auto and phono for your record players. We've got the little tuning dial at the top here, with a little tuning meter there. Something a little bit unusual with this particular model I've got here. I'm not too sure why this has been done to this particular model, so if anyone's got any ideas, please post them in down below. I've got a little red LED here. Sorry, it's not an LED, it's a neon kind of thing, and then little gas neon tube things. You get in your mains plugs, you know, when you get, if you've got one of them switchable main plugs to say it's on and off, one of them kind of neon bulbs in there at the top. And for some reason, when you turn it on, it comes on, and when you turn it off, obviously it goes off. So we turn it back on, it lights up. So that's an indicator that it's on, but this wouldn't have been part of this model. Someone's actually put this in there themselves. For what reason, I do not know. Any suggestions, like I say, please put them down the bottom. So what did I think of this little 5 watt receiver? Very quickly, before I actually tell you what I thought of it, I meant to just show you a couple of pictures inside, because it's quite neat, it's quite nicely the way it's done inside. And there you can see them 2 little dinky transistors for each channel. So 4 transistors there, very dinky, very small, very cute transistors, and this is what's giving this unit its 5 watts of power, and that's 5 watts into 8 ohms. I think it's about 6.5 watts into 4 ohms, something like that. Right, I have actually done a video, a past video, shall I say, of this unit in action. So if you wanted to listen to that, I'll put a link at the top now there for you. I haven't done one around here because the rooms are a bit echoey that I'm listening to in at the moment. It won't really do it justice, I don't think. A few people have said that you can hear the room acoustics getting in the way of some of the sound tests I've done here. So I'm going to put them aside for the time being. But go and have a little look at that test. It's driving their Morgan Short TI-55 speakers in that test, and it does struggle driving them. They're quite big speakers. This is only 5 watts, but even so, this is quite a powerful kind of 5 watts, shall we say. You definitely wouldn't think it's 5 watts if you was listening to it. Right, so let's get on to the sound. First of all, I'm just going to touch on the tuner, because I don't always mention the tuner. This tuner here is a very, very sensitive tuner. It's quite amazing, really, when I'm picking up stations with just a little short piece of wire on the FM. Obviously, the better the aerial is, you're going to get rid of some of that hiss, etc. But it's quite a sensitive tuner on the AM as well as the FM. It's a sensitive tuner in there, so it's a pretty good tuner. And the sound coming out of the tuner is very characteristic with the amp. You get some reasonable detail out of that tuner as well. For what it is, they've done a really good job in there. In this thing, even though it's their bottom of their range, they haven't really cut back in many places in the tuner department, as well as the amplifier department. Really, I don't think I can fairly, strongly say that this amplifier sounds really, really nice. This is a nice sounding amplifier in here. It's got its little pitfalls, etc. But for what it is, and these units on eBay, these here in the UK, they go for £50, something like that. A unit not many people are interested in because of them 5 watts. And if you've got a little small room or medium-sized room, then 5 watts are going to be, really adequate, I think, for that kind of room. Even with them Morgan Short, them diamond-free speakers, I think are rated about 87 dB, something like that. It still drove them okay. It's a little bit lacking in the bass department. They're a little bit, but I think, even though people have said to me, them speakers ain't a little bit bass shy, I just think them diamond frees are a tad on the bass shy department, shall we say. But yeah, all I had to do was turn the bass up here a couple of notches, and that kind of filled up that missing bass and give them a little bit more body that they were missing. They did sound a little bit thin, maybe a little bit hollow kind of sound, just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. But that just turned that bass up a couple of notches there definitely improved that. Going back to other speakers though, for instance, the Celestion 3s, there was no problem there. It drove the bass okay with them, and the bass sounded nice on this unit. The bass here is tight. It's really, really tight, the bass on this unit. I'm surprised. I had to listen to it. I think the detail was excellent as well. For what this is, the detail on the bass is excellent, absolutely excellent. I was really, really surprised. Now, I've got a little problem with this amplifier. I'm going to have to mention this as well before I forget. Is that it's got, you're going to get this with old amplifiers and receivers you buy, especially this kind of age now. This is 50 years old now. You're going to get problems. And the problem with this is, on one of the channels it's got some hissing, a little bit of hiss going on. Maybe it's a transistor leaking or something like that. That needs sorting out. But I've done the test as is, because this is probably how you could quite easily buy it. So be prepared maybe to spend a little bit more money in finding one of these in actually mint condition that's maybe been recapped or has not got a fault. But it hasn't got a fault, it probably is going to develop a fault in a short period of time, I would have said, because it's been sitting there for 50 years. So it's due a fault, let's put it that way. A bit like buying an old car. You don't expect it to be in mint condition, purring. You can have a few little faults here and there that you may have to sort out or get someone to sort it out. So yeah, I've got a little bit of this on one channel, and I had to get the volume to a reasonable degree before that hiss kind of disappeared into the background and the music kind of come in. So just bear that in mind in this review. So I've kind of bared that in mind myself as well. Like I say, that bass was really, really nice. I was really, really surprised and very pleased with that bass. That, it's really, when I say that's excellent, the bass on here, absolutely excellent. The mid-range is quite, it's quite a nice mid-range. It's quite, this is a clear sounding receiver. I'm going to go back to the amplifier. So this is a clear sounding amplifier. It sounds really, really clear. I had to double check, what I mean? I think, am I listening to this? This is really it. It's really, really nice. It's nice and clear. It's got plenty of detail, this amplifier. The vocals sounded nice. The only time the vocals started to get a little bit shouty, shall we say, is when we started cranking this volume up a bit too much. So I would say this amplifier is going to sound nice from a low setting up to about just over a medium kind of setting for a medium sized room. Once you start pushing it a bit too far, going a bit too loud, so this is not going to be a really loud amplifier or anything like that, but as long as you don't go too far, you can get up to like kind of medium kind of volume, a little bit more. But as soon as you start doing that, this amplifier becomes a little bit shouty in the vocal department, that kind of thing, a little bit shouty. It's still okay, don't get me wrong, but anywhere below that, this is really a fantastic sound amplifier. It really is. It really does sound really, really nice. The top end is nice and detailed. Everything sounds nice. The piano sounds excellent. The trumpet, the sax, they all sound very, very nice. I couldn't get over. I was looking at this and I think, no, this little 5-watt dinky little amplifier, which receiver, shall I say, by Sansui, they've really put some work into it. It's a fairly basic circuit, I would have thought, inside. I haven't really had a proper look myself yet. Like I say, I would have to get in there and try and find out where this is coming from at some stage. But on the whole, if you found one of these for £50 and you don't mind putting up with these, it could be something wrong with it kind of thing, and you may have to do a little bit of work or get someone to have a little bit of a look at it for you. For £50, this is a steal. This is a fantastic little receiver. It's not a powerful receiver, don't get me wrong. If you've got some good sensitive speakers, it's really going to help this amplifier as well. You don't want any bass shy speakers. You want to make sure your speakers you're matching up with this. It's got a reasonable bass to them to start off with, because it may just struggle just a little bit in the bass department. Just need to turn it up, like say with them diamonds, a couple of notches to get rid of that kind of hollowness. But the detail in the bass was really, really good. I could hear different notes in the bass, different strings on the bass guitar, all that kind of thing, different drums. I could feel, I could hear the difference how the drum was being hit, how hard that drum was being hit. It was really, really nice. This has got like quite a spacious sound, a reasonable amount of 3D, reasonable amount of airiness to it. Maybe not quite as airy as the 101, that kind of thing, but it's got quite a bit of space, quite a bit of airiness to it, quite nice. All the instruments. Now the instrument, just going back to this, I'm getting out of this on one channel. What channel was it? It was on the right hand channel. It was slightly interfering with the imaging. Well, I'm used to playing some tracks and etc, and I know that the cymbals or sax is going to come just here in between these two speakers, or maybe just over here, slightly over to the left or right from centre. This was kind of pushing it over just a little bit more towards the left hand side. So where something should have been maybe dead in between centre and right, it was maybe pushing a bit more towards the centre. And I think that's to do with that isness getting in the way. So the imaging weren't perfect, but going by the fault, that's probably what's caused it. So I should imagine once that's sorted out, that will be bang on and that'll be okay. But the instruments placements are okay, but they're slightly off, if you can get what I mean. But there's plenty of space around every instrument. And especially I was listening to headphones with this as well. It's so nice to have them headphones listening to this. And I could pick out, and you could place them instruments. You could place one instrument behind the other. You could imagine the bloke just sitting behind the other bloke. You could just hear that difference. The one instrument was kind of here, and the other instrument was there, right behind the other bloke, or slightly to the side of him. It was so easy to pick out on the headphones. It really made it that I'm going to have to pick out another CD. I'm going to have to put something else on to listen to how this sounds. And I was tempted to turn it up because I was getting involved with a few of them. But like I say, as soon as I started cranking this up a bit too much, and when I say too much, I'm talking about probably number 4 or 5 on here, something like that. That shoutiness did start to creep into the actual recording. But other than that, it was fine. So, and let's just don't forget the phono as well, the actual phono stage in here. I think it's just a 2 little transistor on each channel phono stage, and that sounded really nice as well. It kept, there's plenty of detail in that phono stage, and that sounded nice as well. So all in all, this is a fantastic unit. If you could buy one new now with no faults in it, you went out and it's brand new now, and you could go and buy one, and it was 200 quid, that'd be a good £200 invested, I think, because this sounds really nice. Now, like I say, these components being 50 years old could be adding to that little bit of shoutiness when we crept up, when the volume went up a bit too loud. Once I do a recap on this may tone that back down again as well. But all in all, that's a fantastic unit. It really, really is. It's a really, really nice sounding unit. Let down maybe that shoutiness. You're going to probably have a faulty one or some faults with it, some background noise, something like that. And maybe you're just going to speakers that are not too bass. Don't need nothing too much bass. Driving them. Don't get a bass shy speaker, let's put it that way, because you will have to turn it up. It's not the end of the world, but it's nice just to have it there. But the bass is tight. It's very nice indeed. What else can I say? As you can see, I pretty much like this receiver, and if you were thinking about getting one of these, get it. I don't know how much you'll pay for it, like say £50 or £60, something like that, and you've just got yourself a little still there, especially if you listen to the radio as well. it's got a fantastic reception. So that's it. I'm really going to have to wrap this video up before I bore everyone, and I'll say I'll see you soon. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, ta-ra.